What if you are actually nothing more than a narcissistic extension of somebody else? What does it mean to be a narcissistic extension of somebody? Well, some people, due to their lack of emotional stagnation, lack of healthy boundaries, individuation, differentiation, they lack the developmental capacity to see you as anything more than a narcissistic extension of themselves. They will use you as they need while disregarding your needs because they only see their own needs. I'm going to explore a couple things in this video to make this very well understood. But first, what I'm going to do is explore what somebody's childhood may have looked like for them to even be attracted to somebody that is incapable of giving a fuck about the other person's needs. If you are attracted to narcissistic dynamics in relationships, the likelihood that you were raised in narcissistic dynamics in childhood was very high. Maybe you were raised by a parent who was narcissistic, who lacked healthy boundaries, lacked individuation, lacked differentiation, and therefore with that, they were incapable of seeing you as anything more than an extension of themselves. They conditioned you as an extension of themselves. Maybe you were seen as the trophy child. Maybe you learned to be a high performer or to overachieve. Have you ever heard that saying before? When somebody is an overachiever? Why might this occur? Well, a lack of healthy boundaries. Being a narcissistic extension of somebody because that person, unknowingly, because if they knew that they were doing it, they wouldn't do it. The level of subconscious and unconscious dynamic here is absolutely wild. Now, let me make it very clear before I proceed here. When somebody utilizes you as a narcissistic extension of them, like I said before, they were emotionally stagnated somewhere between infancy and childhood. The marring and scathing, the trauma, looked like them being controlled in a way. It was completely fucking boundary obliterating. They didn't get to develop with healthy boundaries and a healthy sense of self, individuation, and differentiation. No. In other words, they may have very well have been undifferentiated. Differentiation has so much to do with the autonomy of self that is separate from others, and seeing that sense of self clearly for who and what the self is. Narcissists, and undifferentiated narcissism is a very real thing. That is when the person that consists of narcissistic qualities and dynamics within themselves, they lack the capacity to see other in a differentiated, healthy way. No, other just essentially becomes an extension of them. They will use you, and it is abusive because it's boundary violating. They will use you in whatever means necessary. Maybe you are emotionally caretaking them, which you then become their defense mechanism. A narcissistic extension is essentially a defense mechanism for people because the person that is utilizing other people, unknowingly, of course, as a narcissistic extension of themselves, are doing so because it is a defense mechanism. They don't want to look at themselves. And let's look at why they don't want to look at themselves, just to brief that. There's really nothing there. If I were to look at myself, I would see a sense of self. I would see a developed sense of self. Maybe if you were to look at yourself, you would also see a developed sense of self. Maybe just, to utilize myself as an example, when Chris looks at himself, he sees a developed sense of self. When maybe you look at yourself, if your name is, I don't know, Bob, whoever you are, if you were to look at yourself, or Anna, we'll go with the name, just to make this both men and women. If you were to look at yourself, maybe you see a developed sense of self. Narcissists, and I'm talking, you could say NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, when it completely checks off all across the fucking board, you lack a healthy, developed sense of self. Not only that, but when you look at yourself, there's practically nothing there. But what there is a whole fuck ton of shame. That is terrifying to look at. So what do narcissists do? They find people that fit well as a narcissistic extension of themselves. These are usually people that lack healthy boundaries as well. People that lack a healthy, developed sense of self. Because they wouldn't choose people that are healthy, because the people that are healthy would actually see what it is that they're doing instead. And so they choose people that lack healthy boundaries. They choose people that they can turn into narcissistic extensions of themselves. So you may not realize it, and it's okay if you don't, but that's what the theme of this video is designed to do, is to help you understand the dynamic. If you find yourself in a situation with someone where you are actually nothing more than a narcissistic extension of them. And now let me make it very clear that for people who see other people as nothing more than a narcissistic extension of them, one, they don't even see the person as a narcissistic extension. That dynamic doesn't exist. Because if they did, then they would probably become more aware of the entire dynamic in and of itself and stop the toxic, unhealthy behavior. All of this has to do with both awareness and a lack thereof. If you are aware that you are nothing more than a narcissistic extension of somebody, and let me make it very clear that until and unless that dynamic within that person changes, you remain nothing more than a narcissistic extension of them. That doesn't change. You probably cannot change that. They have to seek out therapy and do a fuck ton of work on themselves. It doesn't matter how much you might love them. If they do actually give a fuck about you, it's not in a healthy way. It is only in the way that they have learned how to. And that's the reality of it. So what if you are a narcissistic extension of somebody? What if you are nothing more than a narcissistic extension of somebody? Yeah, I've been making a few videos recently on narcissism itself, and it's very, very, very important to understand that not only are you in a relationship with a narcissist, are you aware of the actuality of the dynamic of being a narcissistic extension of somebody, and understanding that, say for instance, this part of the hand is the narcissist. Then say for instance, each individual finger is a narcissistic extension of the narcissist. If this was a healthy individual, the narcissist, which would not be the narcissist, because that's just the way that, unless it's healthy narcissism, it's a whole different story. Unless, if the person saw each finger as an individual and separate, it would be a different story, but that's not the case. No, the narcissist sees people as narcissistic extensions of themselves. How can I use person A? How can I use person B? How can I use person C, D, E, so on and so forth? It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what meaning the narcissist communicates to you that you resemble in its life. A narcissist that uses people is a narcissist that uses people. This is an individual that lacks healthy boundaries, individuation, and differentiation. They see you as nothing more than an extension of themselves for whatever means necessary, maybe to give them form. Maybe you are giving them boundaries because they don't know who they are. And it's painful to not know who you are. And it's painful to look at yourself and see nothing more than shame at the very foundation. Narcissists are fucking chock full of shame. It's sad. And let me reiterate, I mean, I don't think I've already said it in this video, but I'll say it because I've said it in other videos and I mean it all the same. There is no judgment here. This is a safe space. This is not me shaming or guilting anybody. I'm merely here to communicate the fabric, the logistics of what is taking place in different relationship dynamics that are toxic, that are unhealthy. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to look at everything for what it is and communicate that so that people can understand what's actually going on here. If you are in a relationship with a narcissist who sees you as nothing more than a narcissistic extension of themselves while simultaneously being unaware of the fact that that's how they perceive you because that's the way that it would be, I wouldn't continue a relationship with somebody if I were to discover that I see them as nothing more than a narcissistic extension of myself. Somebody who I don't actually, in a healthy way, care about them. I care about them only to the extent that I realize, oh wow, this person is available for me. Let's contact them so that they can do this or that for me. Even though I am a full-grown adult and I am capable of doing the things that I seek out other people to do for me. But I just don't want to do it because I'm emotionally stagnated somewhere between infancy and childhood. Again, no judgment, looking at everything for what it is. It's sad. It's sad, one, that there are people out there that are emotionally stagnated like that, and it's also simultaneously sad that there are people out there that are being utilized, taken advantage of, and disregarded by people that are like this. It's very sad. It's very sad. And if you don't understand what narcissism is, if you don't understand what it means to choose yourself while simultaneously not giving a flying fuck about other people, if you don't understand what it means to be raised without healthy boundaries, individuation, and differentiation, you're going to have a very hard time understanding this. If you lack healthy boundaries, let's look at it in the identity form. If you lack healthy boundaries, the likelihood that you source self from others is very high. That's a boundary violation. Sourcing worth from other people is a boundary violation because nothing of you lies in the other person. It's just the reality of it. If you lack individuation, then you lacked the necessary time needed in a healthy childhood to develop autonomously, separate from the system that you were raised in. You were likely raised in like enmeshment or something. And so therefore, with that, you did not get the space to separate from the system and develop your own sense of thinking, feeling, and behaving as you would like to, not as the system would like you to, as you would like to. If you didn't get differentiation, you didn't get to develop a healthy sense of self that understands the healthy dynamic of self and other, the difference between self and other. There's a big reason why the word difference, differ, is in differentiation. Differentiation is a healthy part of a healthy childhood. I should say it is a normal or natural part of a healthy childhood. Narcissists, most at least, I don't know the actual percentage. Many narcissists lack differentiation. Narcissists that unknowingly see people as a narcissistic extension of themselves lack differentiation. An undifferentiated narcissist sees people as extensions of themselves. Extensions of themselves that they can use and take advantage of because these people also simultaneously lack healthy boundaries. It's very important to understand this. So I hope that with what I've said, I've clearly illustrated what it means to be nothing more than a narcissistic extension of somebody. And the challenge here, and I've said this in other videos in regards to narcissism, One of the biggest challenges when it comes to narcissistic relationships is the facade that the narcissist carries. The charm, the charisma, the energetic dynamic that makes them seem irresistible. Yeah, they're using you and taking advantage of you and are likely going to disregard you, but at least they're charming. At least they're charismatic. At least they've said all of these beautiful things to you that you're probably unaware are actually the dynamic of love bombing. Narcissists lack the ability to have healthy relationships. They lack the ability to have healthy intimacy. This is why they blow you up front. And when I say blow you up, I mean in a way that is very enticing and seductive to you. Their intention, because they don't know how to do it any other way, or with that in a healthy way, their intention is to seduce you as fucking quickly as possible. Narcissists, I'll say it again, narcissists lack not even just healthy boundaries, they lack boundaries. That's why they move so quickly. They love bomb the fuck out of you to get you seduced, to get you attached to them. The only people that would be attracted to this dynamic is those that were raised in a survival-based childhood in that dynamic. But your power lies in seeing it for what it is, which is exactly what I'm communicating here as for you. See yourself as only what you are to them, because you are nothing more than that. It doesn't matter what they say. What matters is what they do. What matters is how they treat you, or how they mistreat you. What matters is your awareness as the narcissistic extension of them. Like, think about it. I'll end off with this. Oh my God. This person doesn't care about me in a healthy way. Oh my God, this person only sees me as an extension of them. Oh my God, this person only contacts me when they need something. They don't give a fuck about how I'm doing. They don't give a fuck about how my day was. Oh my God. This person is incapable of caring about my needs. Oh my God, this person does lack healthy boundaries because they do see me as nothing more than an extension of them, to do things that they could actually do for themselves. And here I am investing my time and energy into someone that is not reciprocating anything healthy. Not even reciprocating anything at all. Let me make it very clear. They might toss in crumbs, breadcrumbs, something that you're used to, by the way. Well, I imagine so, that you're used to. I'm not trying to gaslight you. Breadcrumbs, they toss in breadcrumbs to get you to believe that they actually care about you. They will give you just enough. They will give you just enough because they know that you have, throughout your entire life, as a result of your just enough survival-based childhood, you have gotten very comfortable, familiar with, and used to just enough, so you settle for just enough. So the relationship dynamic with them is familiar to that just enough childhood. You would run from the entire fucking delicious chocolate cake. Not that you like chocolate cake. Maybe it's vanilla, maybe it's strawberry, who the fuck knows. But you would run from the entire cake. Because the entire cake is fucking overwhelming to you. No, the breadcrumbs, the crumbs of love and affection, that's just fucking noise, is what you're used to. It's like a perfect piece to your traumatic puzzle. It is a trauma bond. It is exceedingly fucked up and unhealthy, but the sooner that you can allow yourself to see it for what it is, rather than how you want to see it, is the sooner that you will allow yourself to get out. Take your power back. I understand it can be challenging. I get it. Nothing but, empathy and compassion. But when you see it for what it is, awareness is the key. The door is right there. The door is right there. I can only show you it. You have to walk through it. This is the key. This is the sense of awareness. You are nothing more than a narcissistic extension of them. They are incapable of anything more than they've given you. until and only if they do the work. Similarly to how I said in yesterday's video, what are you choosing and why? And with that, I'll also add to it, what are you aware of? What aren't you aware of? Awareness is a massive part of the game here. Awareness is the key out.